Welcome back to Jersey Matters. As you know, in June, the governor announced that New Jersey restaurants could partially reopen. And then right before the reopening, he changed his mind. That cost the restaurants a lot of money. Now they want that money back. Mary Lou Halverson, CEO and president of the New Jersey Restaurant and Hospitality Association, is leading the charge for reimbursement. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. I know this must be a difficult time for you and for the people that you represent. Talk about the effects of this shutdown overall on restaurants and the hospitality industry.
It's been, I feel like I'm living that Groundhog Day kind of movie again over and over. It's just, when we wake up, will something happen? Will we move to, indoor dining? It's, we're well into the summer and businesses are hurting. Not every restaurant can take advantage of outdoor dining. Only about 40% of them can. So there's a lot that are being severely impacted.
Severely impacted to the point of closing?
Yes, we're probably right now in the neighborhood of about 30 or 32% of small independent restaurants will not either reopen or will eventually shutter because they're not able to reopen. The PPP has been exhausted and now there's really no way of paying it back. And then when we had that false start in early July, when a lot of restaurants went out and took, basically what little money they had or were buying food on credit to get reopened, with the hopes that then they could pay it back. And now that, they were told, nope, sorry, no more indoor dining. And now they have no way of paying that back. So that is just kind of the nail in the coffin.
Let's talk about that false start because the governor had announced that indoor dining would be reopened at a certain percentage. And I know that the casinos, restaurants were all excited about it. And they went out and they spent money for this reopening. And then 3 days before the reopening that was supposed to happen on July 2nd, he rescinded the order, as he said, because of some knuckleheads who crowded some outdoor dining in North Jersey. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of that. How much money did smaller restaurants or larger restaurants even spend during that time in getting ready for the reopening?
Yeah, first I do want to address what you had said about the knuckleheads. And it's I don't think it's right to punish an entire industry instead of dealing with the enforcement of those that were not doing it properly. But also there's something to be, we talked a lot about the Jersey Shore bars. And what was happening was people are here. They're in New Jersey. They're not going away on vacation, so they're coming to the shore. They're only allowing a certain percentage indoors because just at capacity. So what's happening is they're congregating outdoors and they're waiting in line to get in. And even when they're told, I'm sorry, we're not letting any more people, whether into the outdoor space in the bar, they're in the streets. And it looks bad because there's pictures of people milling around because there's nowhere for them to go. So, I do want to say, yes, there was definitely some people that were not doing it properly. Some of that behavior got corrected, but let's go to enforcement on that instead of hurting an entire industry. 99% of the industry wants to do it the right way. They're not looking to open up at 100% indoor. They're concerned about their families who often work in the restaurant with them, their employees, and their guests. So they want to do it responsibly. And this is an industry that already has instilled daily sanitation protocols.
You have these small businesses, for the most part, most of them are small businesses,
yes,
that have already been hit by the COVID-19 and the shutdown, now spending money for the reopening. And it's much of that money they're not going to get back unless the legislature does something, and there's some hope there.
Yeah, and obviously some of the programs that both the governor and the legislature have rolled out will be helpful. But we really need, some of the federal money that we have gotten, and we're looking at more like, this is going to cost significant, and not just the hospitality industry, small business across the state. But we are the state's largest private sector employer. And by getting us back open to a degree, will certainly help with those unemployment numbers.
But you were dealt this strange blow in that you were told you could reopen to a certain percent, 25%, and then you were told you couldn't. And I understand that there's a bill right now. The legislature is talking about a bill to give some of that money back, to reimburse some of that money.
Yes, yeah, bipartisan support. I think Senator Bucco's, Senator Gopal, both sides of the aisle, who really, and I have to applaud them and thank them all because they've been very supportive. And this bill will allow restaurants to apply with their receipts to get reimbursed. I believe it's up to $10,000. It's been a while since I looked at the bill, but we know that it's got bipartisan support, and we certainly hope that the governor signs it.
Do you have any sense on that? Because in signing it, he would have to admit that he caused that problem in the first place.
I won't speak on behalf of the governor. I'll let him answer that, but we certainly hope that he will, because there's not I think there's not a press conference goes by, or, often in his statements, he's acknowledged the impact on the hospitality industry. So we know he knows it. So hopefully he'll sign the bill.
Could you speak to some of these restaurant owners who have put their lives sometimes into these restaurants and are excited about what they do every day, and then they face the possibility of have that going away? Have you talked to anybody who's expressed that to you?
I've heard every emotion out there, every emotion to desperation, to tears, to frustration, to anger. Some of them are just resigned to the fact that it's over for them. It's heartbreaking. It really is. A lot of them tried to do the takeout and delivery. Then a lot of them have been doing, outdoor dining, and where that's, allowed to happen, right? And the towns have been great about doing that. But, you have people who have saved up their whole life, or have worked their whole life. And some of these are multi-generational businesses. It's been, their parents, and then they've inherited, or some cases grandfathers, and they will go away. Because, especially those that are smaller and ethically diverse, because they don't have the same access to cash, capital, credit. So that will certainly impact the small independent restaurateurs. And that's in New Jersey, some of the best restaurants we have.
Well, let's see what happens with your bill. Would love to have you back if it makes the governor's desk.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
That was Mary Lou Halverson, CEO and president of the New Jersey Restaurant and Hospitality Association. When we come right back, imagine having a wedding planned and then the pandemic hits. Rescheduling's a nightmare. So are the lawsuits. We'll talk about that when Jersey Matters comes right back.